But is it possible that Matt Stafford would be a New York Giant for the right price?
I get the theory that, like, as long as the price is right, teams will trade anyone. But my thing is, the Rams were one play away from making the NFC Championship, and they would have won that game, I guarantee it, if it was not snowing or if they were in LA. And I just feel like for them to be that close and then be willing to trade away Cooper and Matt Stafford doesn't make any sense to me. I get the theory behind it. And I think that Cooper is one thing. He's probably getting older. Like, they're going to do what the Giants should have done with Saquon, is they're going to trade away someone before they become a free agent, which is the smart thing to do. So I could see the Cooper Cup thing, but I just don't see it with Stafford. And I know that he's coming towards the end of his contract, but I just don't think it's also going to be as simple as like only giving away a first round pick, which I don't think is a good idea, knowing next year that the quarterback class is going to be better, that we're probably going to be in a position to get a good quarterback next year, realistically. And I understand that this front office doesn't have time to wait and they can't think about that. I just think that also our cap space is finally in a good position. I don't really see Joe being willing to take on Stafford's contract at this point for the amount of money that it is, for the age that he is. Also, he's not really the most mobile, and Daboll's scheme is going to focus around a mobile quarterback. So I don't know. For me, there's way more cons than pros when I think about the reasons why the Giants would do it. So I don't really see it. I also think when people are like, oh, they just hired his brother-in-law, like, I don't really think that means anything.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah.
In the NFL, everyone's related to everyone. It's a nepotism-based business. We all know this. So I don't think that makes a difference. So I don't know. I don't see them doing it. And if they have to give up a 2026 first, I wouldn't do that personally.
Anthony, is it possible he's a Giant?
I really don't think it is possible. I don't see why Matt Stafford would want to leave, as Adriana said, a team that was just on the cusp of going to the NFC Conference Championship game. There are legitimately 3 plays in that game that if they went the other way, we might be talking about the Rams being Super Bowl champions right now. So I think you have to keep that in mind. From Stafford's perspective, it makes no sense. And a long-term outlook, it doesn't make sense for either team or either party, rather, because Stafford is going to want to end his career to whichever team he goes to if he does get traded. And he's going to want to win before he ends his career. Defensive line needs work. Linebacker core needs work. Secondary needs all of the help in the world. This roster is so far away from competing. And there are Giants fans who legitimately believe that trading for Matt Stafford makes them a contender overnight. I get it. The quarterback can do a whole lot, but it can't do that much. And if you're just going to trade for Stafford, blow up your salary cap space for the next 2 years to bring him on, forego the opportunity of drafting a quarterback as a result of bringing in Stafford, what are you doing? You are completely screwing over your future. And that is how you land in the situation that the New York Jets are in, because it's pretty much the same situation. Bringing in an old aging veteran like Rodgers, clearly past his prime. I'm not saying Stafford is necessarily past his prime, because he could sling it. He's still great. Yeah. But it's the same roster building concept that just blew up in the face of the Jets. So, well, not necessarily the Patriots, but the Commanders, absolutely. And we've seen it time and time again. So I just don't think it makes sense for either party. Again, I love Matt Stafford. I have gotten into so many arguments, just, talking ball with friends over the years. I've always been the biggest Stafford advocate. I say this all the time. I think he's the most underrated player in league history. He never got the credit that he deserved throughout his time in Detroit, and he's been an absolute star with the Rams. So I love Matt Stafford. He does not make sense for the New York Giants, and the New York Giants make little to no sense for him. So I don't think it'll happen. If it does, I'll reevaluate my opinion. But right now, I don't think it's even a realistic possibility.
But Joe Jane says we're close, Anthony. He says we're close. I know we're close too, but he says we're close.
I was very angry when he said that, because I thought it was so untrue. And it's so ironic that he said that, and then that losing streak just piled up as soon as he said that. But the Giants, you are right. They might feel like they are close, and they might make a move like this. But again, I just don't think that Stafford is actually available. Why the hell would the Rams trade him away? What's their alternative at quarterback if they trade away Stafford? It just doesn't make sense.
They're not picking behind the draft.
This isn't the NBA. It's not the NBA. You don't see the Luka Doncic trade happen. Like superstars get traded all the time in the NBA. Just they always move teams. It happens. If you look at European football, it happens all the time. These superstars. That doesn't happen like that in the NFL. It's very rare. When Tom Brady left the Patriots, it was monumental. It shook up the entire sport. That doesn't happen every 2 years. So it's not going to happen with Stafford, in my opinion. He's going to retire Los Angeles Rams quarterback, and he actually still, I think, has a chance to add another ring to his resume if he stays in LA.
Chris, is it possible Stafford is a Giant?
Anything's possible. But when I first started hearing these rumors, like a month ago, like people were talking about it I laughed at it. I'm like, it makes zero sense. It's not happening. And then this past week, I started to see like real insiders, like at least like tease the idea of it being a possibility. Like today, you saw Daniel Jeremiah bring it up. You saw Adam Schefter bring it up. And then I'm like, is this a thing? Could this like actually happen? And to me, it makes even less sense for Matt Stafford than it does the New York Giants. At least the New York Giants, I would completely disagree with the decision. I think it would be a stupid thing to do. But at least with the Giants, I could say, okay, maybe, like if I'm trying to reach for something, Shane's trying to save his job. Maybe Shane doesn't believe in any of these quarterbacks. Maybe he doesn't believe in Sanders. Maybe he doesn't believe in Cam Ward. And maybe he's like, well, I'm willing to give this guy $50 million a year, which is what it would take to keep him, because there is no way in hell if Matthew Stafford was ever going to come here, which he's not going to, but if he was ever going to come here, that he would give the Giants a penny of a discount. He would make the Giants extend him and give him as much money as possible. He would view this as a retirement plan, as a pension. That's the only draw. If the Giants were willing to give him more money than anybody else in the league and the Rams couldn't work out an extension, that's the only way it would happen. It makes no sense from Matthew Stafford's perspective outside of that.